Israel's Prime Minister said he wanted to expel Al Jazeera from Israel because of its reporting of the protests around the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. Now his Communications Minister says he's planning to make that happen.
I'm going to request the government press office revoke the press cards of Al Jazeera network reporters operating in Israel. I've spoken to the cable and satellite companies that expressed willingness from their end to consider stopping Al Jazeera broadcasts. I also spoke to the Minister of Internal Security to ask him to use his authority to close the offices of the network in this country. I also spoke to others to ask them to limit the network's broadcasting on the open satellite.
He claims cable and satellite providers have agreed to block the network's transmissions, but he will need to table fresh legislation to force the closure of its bureau in Jerusalem. A former Israeli Justice Minister told Al Jazeera he doesn't think that will happen.
It is not a decision to close down Al Jazeera in Israel from today to tomorrow. As it was said before me, it's a long process, and Israel is a democracy, and it is possible to petition it, and there is a Supreme Court, and it won't be so easy to take such a decision like in some other countries in this world, including some other Arab countries. You cannot just take this decision and tomorrow there is no Al Jazeera.
This attack on Al Jazeera is really an attack on all critical independent journalism, and I think it's a really, it is a very strong statement, which I think will worry a lot of international journalists on the spot, and a lot of Democrats inside Israel who will worry very much that the government is going down a path which is more authoritarian and more repressive than it has known in recent years.
Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Egypt called for the complete closure of the network as part of their own ongoing diplomatic dispute with Qatar. Israel now joins those voices against the network, and the Communications Minister surprisingly revealed his government wants to meet those countries, traditional rivals, as part of a larger conference in the region.
Lately, most of the countries in our region determined that Al Jazeera supports terror, supports religious extremism. This comes from the Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, all the countries that we, as Israel, want to hold a regional conference, an economic, political and even a security agreement.
Al Jazeera was the first Arab-owned news network to offer a platform to Israeli politicians and commentators. It rejects any idea its coverage in Israel has been biased or inflammatory. The Israelis have given no indication of a timescale on how to curtail Al Jazeera's operations in the country, which will depend on the approval of several government agencies. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera.